One race all Californians voted on their ballots today was the U.S. Senate.
We have full coverage for you. Andrea Flores is with the Adam Schiff campaign at Los Angeles' JW Marriott. That's a big Democratic watch party. How are people feeling there as the votes have just come in now and the polls have just closed for California?
Absolutely. What I'm hearing is that the Associated Press has called the race for Congressman Adam Schiff for that U.S. Senate seat. But again, we are here at the California Democratic Watch Party. As you can see, things are pretty quiet right now. They are starting to let people into the ballroom here. Again, we're at the JW Marriott at LA Live, and as we zoom in here, you can see some swag that's on the tables and chairs there. We have Adam Schiff for U.S. Senate bags. We have Harris Walz t-shirts. There in the distance, if you can see, there is a big poster there, the California Democratic Party Kamala for President poster, and that at the bottom you can't see there but says Daughter of California. So just interesting to see all of the support here. Of course, we know that there are many advocates and leaders in the Democratic Party. We know that the polls have now closed, so still waiting for this event to kick off here in downtown LA. But again, we have heard a lot of people just anxious about tonight. Of course, Schiff has led in the polls, has led in fundraising. We know that he has been on the campaign trail, not necessarily for himself, though, in recent weeks. He's been campaigning for other Democrats in other states. He understands that if Trump is elected as president, that Democratic majority would be important. Also, he has had a lot of support amongst Democrats, especially because he's been put in the spotlight, both here in California and on the national level. We know that he has been called out by Mr. Trump several times. And so he is looking, his party says, to save democracy. A couple of the issues that he has campaigned on includes additional housing and affordable housing. Hopefully that he thinks that that could be an answer to the state's homelessness crisis. Also hopes to do some work on immigration as well. So again, we are here waiting for the party. Again, the Associated Press has called the race for Congressman Adam Schiff. Likely will be a big celebration here, but again, we are just minutes into this event starting. It starts at 8 o'clock. Still pretty quiet here, but of course we will keep an eye on everything and we'll send it right back to you guys.
Well, we know they will have a lot to celebrate at that party. Thank you so much.
All right, from there, let's go to Michelle Bandur out east of where Andrea was at the Garvey Campaign Center. This is in Palm Desert. Michelle.
Well, Golston, you know, I was ready to tell you that it was a really festive and patriotic atmosphere here, but that changed as soon as it was announced that the AP called the race in favor of Adam Schiff. The energy here has dropped. Things have gotten quiet. There were a lot of boos when that announcement was made on the screens here at this election watch party. But, you know, earlier in the evening, before the polls closed, we actually talked with Steve Garvey, the 75-year-old former professional baseball player, stopped by to talk with reporters again before the polls closed. And of course, he loves using his favorite baseball puns. As a former LA Dodger, he said that at that time he's still in the game, ready to score that victory. He talked about being optimistic and confident that in this heavily blue state, he said Californians want to change and that they deserve two voices. And he was asked, what will he do, win or lose? And he says that he really wants to serve the people of California. He said he learned that by playing baseball for 20 years, winning world championships as an LA Dodger, and that he says what he learned in this campaign is that people want to be served and he wants to be a part of that. And so he said the first step for him has to been run for the Senate, and then he says we'll go from there. Now, interestingly enough, Trump never did endorse Garvey here, and so when he was asked about that, he didn't specifically address that, instead talking about his mentor, Ronald Reagan, saying he has the same core beliefs of God, lower taxes, smaller government. But again, we spoke with him in the hours before the polls closed, and he was very relaxed, he was very calm, and again, optimistic. But now that the race has been called by the AP, we'll have to see what he says to his supporters and really what his next step will be. We're told that he's going to speak here to his supporters in about 30 minutes or so. So, of course, we'll be here and we'll see how he will address the crowd and really if he has any plans that that he's ready to announce now that this process has stepped in. He did say that he wanted people to learn from the way he ran his campaign, not being a typical politician, as he told us. So again, we're going to stay here. We'll have to hear what Steve Garvey has to say after the race being called, and we'll send it back to you in Sacramento from reporting here in Rancho Mirage.
Okay, yeah, we hope to hear from him. And Michelle, we know you've got a lot of work to do out there, so we'll check back with you in a little bit.